John.
Howdy.
Hey, do you have another presentation at OCP Global Summit?
I don't. Not for this year.
Um, and are you coming?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it out or not.
Okay, because I think given Jason's email that they have a slot, I was thinking of you because I didn't see your name on the CMS presenters. You might want to use the opportunity to get a free pass.
This is a good option. Um, yeah, I can try and hurry and finish the work we're doing now to get something presentable for the fall.
Yeah, I mean, if
Or
you, uh, I was thinking of also Daniel, for whom I can use a pass.
Mhm.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon,
Jason.
everyone. Sorry, I'm
Howdy,
a couple
Jason.
minutes late. I had another meeting that ran a little long.
No worries.
I sent a revised agenda, and I'm sure it didn't have much time, but I was hoping that it would attract a lot of interest, but it didn't seem to make much of a change. Let me share, and we can get started.
Mhm. Yeah, I did get a chance to work up some slides
Fantastic.
and line up a future speaker for us.
That's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Pankaj.
No, I think it just, it takes a little bit of doing because
Yeah.
it's not like work has stopped, but you just have to find yet another burst of energy to keep the interest going.
Yep. All right. Is the agenda visible?
Yeah, very
Okay.
small.
See if I can make it any bigger. It's kind of, I think it's at the biggest. Oh, it does go bigger. How about that? How about that
Yeah,
size?
yeah.
Oh, very nice. That's huge on my screen. All right, so I'll ask if anyone has any concerns about the minutes from our last meeting. I do want to talk about the next meeting next week. There's FMS going on. I don't know how many people are going to be at that or available.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
going to be tied up with FMS.
okay, as am I. So, and my preference would be to not meet
Yeah,
next week. Okay,
yeah, let's do that.
okay.
Yeah,
So I will. John, are you going to be out there at FMS or not?
I'm not, but I'll be busy next week, so it's good to take it off.
Okay, okay, perfect. Um, I'll share a slide here in a minute, or it's a spreadsheet actually from OCP on the Global Summit, because we do have all afternoon. So we may as well use it for something. Um, and then Pankaj, you said you got a presentation put together with a few slides, and we can talk about
Yeah, I
the,
wish Gaurav was here because there is there is actually lots of activity in computational memory, and it will be good to even bring some of the people back. I was asking John if he has another presentation. He would be a good name. Daniel is another good name.
yeah.
Um, Daniel Bittman.
So all great ideas. So hold on just a second, and then we'll jump right into that. Let me just ask if there's any concerns from the minutes from last meeting.
Good to go.
Okay. All right. Well, then let me just share this spreadsheet. See if I can make this bigger. It's in a Google Doc, so let me see if I can zoom in. Ooh, that's probably too big. Maybe that's pretty good. So basically, this is, I did finally have a meeting with Cliff at OCP,
Mm.
and I was able to get some of the information that Bill probably had, but obviously he left with it because I didn't have any of it. But we do have a data, it's actually
Data centric compute.
Yeah, somebody typed that in wrong. But anyway, we have from 12:30 to 5 on the 15th.
Oh my God.
We've got a huge amount of time. Now there is supposed to be this 60-minute break here in the middle. I don't know why, but this is just like a template that they said, here's our standard format. And so we have gobs of time here that we can do stuff with. I mean, it's clearly completely empty at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
But we could have all kinds of people talk, right? We could all four of us, five of us could talk, and we could bring in, some people from outside, and they're definitely encouraging us to have, a good 50-60% of the presentations from people not in the group, to help increase participation. And so this kind of ties in, Pankaj, with our short conversation last week about, what do we do about participation? And they're suggesting this is an avenue to maybe drum up some interest. And I don't disagree. So anyway,
well,
this is
there is going to be some overlap. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't think that matters. Because you said you and Grav have do you have a 75-minute slot or something, or?
No, we have a 20-minute slot in the CMS side. And CMS agenda is really packed, but goes till 2:15. So, so the thing here is that that those of us who are also going to be in CMS, which day is this, by the way?
It's October 15, day 3.
Yeah,
so I
think that's same
Thursday.
That's same as CMS. Let me see.
Let me look at. Oh, is it?
John,
but is yours in the afternoon?
It goes from 8:30 to 2:15, I think. I'm just looking.
Oh no, the 15th is Wednesday. That's right. They grew it a day this year because it was so big. So it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, the 16th is the last day.
Yeah.
So where is the? OCP CMS Weekly. How come I don't have notes this time? Let me look. Okay, just give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember what day the CMS is on.
Yeah, Reddy was keeping the final thing in his spreadsheet. So I don't think we saw the agenda put together. But we might have to go to OCP Global Summit program.
I'm wondering if it's posted yet. I'll bring up a browser here and look myself. Schedule overview.
Yeah, it's there. So all breakout sessions. Okay. Full schedule. Server composable memory systems.
Say one thing on the full schedule, Wednesday at 1:50 p.m.
No, that's not right. So this clearly is wrong.
It's not updated yet, but I think
Is
Yeah.
this
that
last
means that
year's
it's Wednesday
schedule? Oh
morning.
no, it is. Okay.
Oh, is it?
No, no, I don't think it is. I think it is. I just want to make sure it's not, but it looks.
Yeah, it's not right. Because I know CMS is having a full day. I think she was waiting. Kate, who was the lady there? Kate.
Kate is
Yes.
familiar. I don't remember her last name at the moment.
Yeah. So she was working on the schedule, waiting for some people to finalize. And I can check in one area where I might have the internal copy of CXP Teams or CMS Teams schedule.
I think it'd be great if you're able to dig that up and just let us know. I mean, we don't have to have it today, but my hope is that there's not too much overlap because on time, I don't have a problem with overlapping content at all because you can, if you've only got 20 minutes, you could probably dive into a different topic or into a different level of detail in the
Yeah,
session. We don't have to stick with this format. This is just the format that's their standard. Um, that's their standard format.
yeah.
If we want to make these 20 or 30 minute chunks, and we have that flexibility. I don't understand this break because this seems like a waste of time to me, but I don't know how flexible we are on that. I'd have to ask.
I mean, yeah, and it's at the wrong time, but I think they are forced to coordinate the breaks. And I was also told that the staff are extremely rigid this year about
Oh,
two things. One is the 5 minute gap between successive presenters. They
mhm.
want to enforce that. And they do want to align the breaks. So
Okay,
they're not going to be very flexible about things, from what I can tell. Uh,
okay. And so are these? I hate to even ask this question, but is the break like some kind of something related to
yeah,
the union thing? Like they have to, the people doing the video recording and all that have to have a
yeah.
break
I
and
mean, I think they get confused, and they're not like the brightest cookies in the jar sometimes. So they just they want to keep it really simple because they have low paid and maybe accommodate people with some needs. So they just want to keep it simple for the people they have who are doing the recording and switching, and they're like just you know people who need simple instructions to follow.
sure.
So
Well,
last
I do
last
think it's
year,
more about coordinating because they have all
yeah,
these, parallel sessions, and they do want to have these, the breaks is when, people socialize, and I think that's more of that's why it's so long. Basically, that's why it's half an hour. It's not a break
It's,
for this
it's
session; it's the break for the whole thing.
well, it's not
yes, it
half an
is.
hour, it's an hour. They've allocated an hour for this break. So yeah, apparently
Oh, you're
we
right. It's an hour. Wow, yeah,
yeah,
that is longer than I
that's
thought.
that's
Yeah.
that's a lot of hallway conversation. And I'm not saying that I couldn't consume an hour talking to people. I'm sure we all could, but anyway, we still have a bunch of time, right? We've got
Yeah, and I think exhibitors and others also desire this, that the breaks be long so people will go see things.
mhm,
So they might be following, it's a marketing organization and has a function. They somehow have to pay for things. So whatever their reasons. But I know that this year they're fairly inflexible about certain things.
okay.
Yeah. Uh, that said, Jason, there are lots of people who are working on both computational memory and computational storage. Many of the computational storage items won't ever make it into CMS just because of the thrust there.
Mhm.
And I think there will be some customer types who will be only too glad to come and talk to us about their work. Okay, and let me surface some names to you here.
Okay.
One is this gentleman called Taiyu Wu at Facebook, Meta. Um, Another is Gary Grider at Los Alamos.
Mhm.
And then, so Gary Grider and some of the Hynix people have done some work on computational storage that is continuing to show good results. Okay,
Mhm.
um, and then sort of leaving computational storage for a second, coming to computational memory side. The you know any of the vendors who presented, especially Samsung, um, I think if they will come back, we can gladly have them do either one MCC or PNM, PIM, right? Um, Differences. But academic work on both PNM and PIM remains really strong. So I was thinking of, the thing that I'm presenting from Michigan. We can listen to them hopefully on September 16th or one of the days in one of our future meetings. It will be good to have them come back. Their work is really interesting in terms of how detailed, and that's more in the genomics application, though. Okay. Um, there is other work that owners, postdocs have been doing that some of them are presenting at FMS. And they always have really interesting work on processing in memory. Uh, not, and sometimes they use a combination of PIM and PNM. Um, so that's always interesting. Um, and then there is more. Uh, who else? Those are 3, 4 ideas for you. And then Daniel Bittman from Elephants, he's been doing some work. So offloaded code can use virtual addresses, and that's going to be a demo at OCP Global Summit in the Innovation Village. So he can talk about his demo.
Okay. I think that's great. So these are great suggestions. So Pankaj, I mean, I don't know Tai Yu Vu. I do know Gary. Happy to reach out to Gary. Do you want to reach out to?
Yeah, I'll copy you. I'll reach
Okay.
out and copy you.
Okay.
Uh, are you now the de facto head, Jason,
I am
of,
currently
of us?
the de facto leader of this group. Although they're still trying to get a hold of Bill to find out if he wants to continue. They are willing to give him a complimentary membership, and then he would be able to continue. I know from some other groups that I'm in with him that he's taken a 2 month sabbatical. So I don't know if they're going to go ahead and let him have 2 months
Yeah.
until he comes back, or
I,
yeah, that's all I know.
yeah, I mean, I I have we'll support you.
Well, thank you.
So you know uh, since you are here and doing this, might as well, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So uh, so yes, you are kind enough to make room, but uh, since you are putting in the effort and not too shabby despite all the difficulty of rebuilding this effort. And of course, others can raise their hand.
Sure.
Hojin, do you have some ideas for what can be presented at Global Summit in the FTI data-centric computing session?
Yeah, so my team is the Korea's PNM team, and yeah, I think we can talk about some our progress. And firstly, I talk about this to my manager, and I think I must review internally, and after that, I can email about the result to you.
That would be great. I appreciate that. Yeah. So find out if you're able to present, and I'm certain we can allocate a time slot for you. So
And
Yeah,
then,
okay.
yeah, John and I were talking. John, do you want to say what you might be able to finish that you were hoping?
Not publicly.
Okay. Okay.
But I guess in a similar position to Hojin. I'll speak with my higher ups and see what I can do.
okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we have, I mean, depending on how many from the suggested names come in. Okay. I also have some students who have finished their PhD
Mhm.
and are starting to work at companies like Aerospike and others. So, you know, for example, Lokesh is one of them. He just did a PhD thesis on computational storage. So he would be a good candidate also.
Sure, absolutely. So Pankaj, you'd mentioned Daniel Bittman from Elephants. Do you
Yeah.
want to reach out to him and see if he's interested?
Yeah, I know he would be interested. If this was not happening, I would actually have to pay for his ticket just so he could come and do his Innovation Village demo. And Elephants is not a very rich company, so we actually have to do budget planning for that. So
Right,
this would be
right.
a big thing for us. I know he will say yes.
Okay. And I assume you'd rather have him speak instead of yourself, just to
Yeah,
change it up a bit. Okay.
yeah. Plus,
Okay.
I mean, I think this session, and maybe, if Gaurav was here, he would say the same thing about, do you guys remember the name of the gentleman from India who talked about OpenXLA?
Hi, folks. This is Gaurav. I
Oh,
heard
Oh,
hi,
hi,
Gaurav.
Gaurav.
I'm being ghost here because I'm on road and I dialed in over phone. So
Okay.
sorry for being late to the meeting. And all I've heard is you folks are talking about OCP Global Summit, but I don't have the full context, and that's because I was late.
Jason will give you
So
the context. There's something
I'll-
on the screen, Gaurav.
I will
Yeah.
give you a quick summary. What I'm sharing on the screen is a spreadsheet with a OCP's default template for how to organize a track. We have basically from 12:30 to 5 that we could plan all kinds of presentations on October 15th, which is day 3 of 4. There is a 1-hour break in the middle of the afternoon from 2:15 to 3:15. Otherwise, we have 12:30 to 5 where we can have all kinds of speakers come in. I think somebody on OpenXLA, and I know that the presenter that educated us about OpenXLA is in India. I don't know the feasibility of him coming over, Gaurav, but if you know someone else or yourself who wants to talk about it, that might be an interesting presentation for this.
Okay. So, yeah, first of all, thanks for verbalizing it for me. Appreciate it. And second, yeah, I mean, this is a development, and I would certainly take this for consideration, and we'll try to make it work, put it this way, and I'll try to get back to you. That's Jason, I presume, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Of course, it would require some internal discussion, and hopefully latest by next week this time, but most likely this week itself.
Okay. That'd be perfect. And I understand, yeah, everybody needs to get permission. This is one of the balls, unfortunately, that kind of dropped when Bill exited Samsung. But I was able to get a hold of the right people, and we have time, but certainly the sooner the better. Then they can get it on the website and advertise what we're going to present.
Hey, Gaurav, what was the name of the co-presenter you had from India on OpenXLA? Srihari, okay.
He's in my team.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd be happy to get him over. It's
Yeah.
just that these days you don't know about the logistics. Just to get a U.S. visa, it can be very challenging considering the many, many months of wait list, just to get an appointment at the consulate. So
Yeah. That's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if OCP
But
has
we
some
can work
facilities to help
something
with that.
out.
Sorry, Gaurav, I was wondering if
Okay.
OCP has any facilities to help with that. Maybe they have somebody who can write a letter or something to say that, they're invited and we want them, or however, I don't know.
I think that will be another question
me
for
neither.
Kate Handel.
Mhm.
Kate Handel is the last, has the name there. Jason.
Yeah, but barring that, I'll try to. Srihari or no Srihari. We can one way or the other. We can
Yeah.
most likely, accommodate that. So I don't know if Jason, what you are presenting up on the screen, if you already have sessions identified. If you could please provide that as part of the meeting minutes, that would be very helpful.
I can take a screenshot of this. This is in some Google Doc page, and I'm guessing most people don't have access to it.
Hey, Jason, you
yes.
can make a copy of this and then share it in Google Drive. And what we can do is start populating with ideas and help you with some of the follow-throughs and leave some of them to you.
Okay.
So that we can get this done. And as people get permissions, like I think John and Gaurav and Hojin too, then we'll figure out who else we invite after our main presenters have said yes or no. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will see what I can
out.
do. My company doesn't allow Google Doc access, so I'll have to figure out I'll have to see what limitations I have. It may not let me do all of that, but I will see what I can do.
If you can just go to share on this one and share with me, then I will take care of. I will take care of sharing with whoever you want me to share it with, so that it's a Google Drive thing.
I probably should. I think I should make a copy because I think this is their master copy, and I don't want us to accidentally stomp on something that would be problematic. So I will do that.
I have a suspicion time is really tight though. So
I think you're right, although they didn't put that pressure on me because the first I'd heard about it was today. This is hot off the press. So I'd heard that we had been given a slot, but I knew nothing. But I actually got the detail today. So
yeah, it also looks like
so
it's part of FTS, not.
Sorry, do you?
Yeah.
Hey, Pankaj, do you know when is OCP publishing the schedule for the?
We were just checking.
Out soon, right?
Gaurav, I think it is past due, but there was some confirmations needed from CMAC and others that Kate did not receive. So she was waiting for CMAC to and some other people to confirm, and then CMS agenda was going to become final. Do you remember if that was 8 something to 2:15, right? On the 15th also, isn't it?
That's what I am afraid of, and that's the reason I inquired upon it, because it would be really undesirable and will be challenging to have the overlapping sessions between CMS/CXL and DCC. But anyway, I think they'll have to accommodate one way or the other.
But it goes till 2:15, and this one wants to start at 12:30 as a break that starts at 2:15 and really does not pick up until 3:15. So those of us who are in CMS will end up overlapping on some of the on some of the time. Okay, Gaurav, that's for your information.
Right. So yeah. Thanks. So is this the symposium style or just the regular track for breakout sessions?
I mean, in the past, FTI DCC session was just a bunch of presenters, one after the other.
That's right. And
Yeah.
that's essentially what the structure they've given us.
Yeah.
Although we can change this around if we need to.
Got it.
What
Thank
I
you.
will suggest, right, Gaurav and Jason, for your consideration, let me suggest something by way of schedule and agenda. Okay. Why don't we, for the benefit of the public, share in the part that goes between 12:30 to 2:15 those presenters whom we heard and liked and learned from. Okay, so that if any of us end up being in CMS instead at that time, for us it will not be a total miss because we would have attended at least a slightly older version of the presentation previously. Okay, and for the public it will be new, and for our attendees. For the speakers, it will be good return on time because as opposed to talking with 4 or 8 people, they will get to present at the summit in the Future Technology Symposium, which is what this is part of. And then for the 3:15 to 5 portion, we can do new material that we all want to be present for, if that works for you all.
So I think I don't have a problem with it, but let me repeat what you're suggesting. The suggestion is that any material that was previously presented and is just maybe getting updated, we would do that in the first block of time from 12:30 to 2:15.
Yeah.
And then any new material, some invited speakers that none of us have heard from or anything like that, then we try to do that from 3:15 to 5.
Yeah, or even us presenting, right?
Yeah.
Like people like me, Gaurav. I don't know, John, if you will be doing CMS and this or both or one.
Probably at most this. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think anything for CMS.
Okay.
I have no problem with that. I mean, it's just a matter of placing those speakers in the right place. So shouldn't be an issue.
So Jason, when I get the screen, let me start by sharing with you the agenda, the last test agenda of CMS that I have a screenshot of, which I would encourage you take a screenshot so that I do confirm that the date for this is October 15th, 8 a.m. to 2:15 p.m.
We are going to have that overlap.
Yep. Okay.
Does anyone else have the name of a potential speaker themselves or someone in their company that they want to suggest? And obviously you're certainly willing to go back and think about it and send an email later.
Depending on availability, I'll be happy to give a talk. This would be a little bit more from an academic perspective, but yeah, I might have maybe 2 or 3 possibilities, that are very much along the lines of this group.
And what's
we
your
can talk about it
availability?
again. I don't necessarily want or need to do that, but I'll be happy to do it if there is availability.
Okay, there should be availability. Is that what you mean by availability? Are you? It sounded like maybe you wouldn't be available to come to.
No. I mean,
Okay.
if there are slots, I would rather not take the the space of an outside person that would bring things to our group. But yeah, if there are slots available, I'll be happy to present something.
Thank you.
And Jason, this is Gaurav. Considering that I just heard about it, allow me a little bit of soak time, and I shall get back to you with some proposed talks.
Yeah, no problem. We're all just hearing about it. I heard about it 2 hours ago, and now everybody's hearing about it now. So we're all, it's all new to,
I
it's new to
see.
all of us.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
Okay.
no problem. All right, well, I'll stop sharing and we can switch to the next topic, which is Pankaj has some slides on changes to host, network, and device responsibilities. We can go from there.
Sure. Let me do one thing, like I was saying. Let me first share this with you, Jason. These items, which is for those of you who do not know what Taiyu Wu has been working on, okay? He's been working on this really interesting topic that he has presented in other OCP working meetings. And he wants to use near GPU storage to improve checkpoints and availability and some other machine learning related topics. So Jason, this might be interesting to you as a Solidime person, but also is not something that we discuss in CMS. But I've been talking with Tayu on Gaurav's recommendation on the side, and it will be good to invite this guy and to have a structured discussion with them about our work and alignment. Okay.
Makes sense.
So that's one thing.
Hey, I'm glad. Sorry, I'm glad that Pankaj, that you that you connected with him.
Yeah.
A quick question, if you might know the answer to, how different it is from this NVIDIA CJ's initiative of SCADA than what Taiyu is thinking of.
Yeah, so I think that's actually I'm going to not know which capitalization they use in SCADA, but I'll just write it for your reference, Gaurav. I think these are topics we want to discuss and have some either alternate presenter or discussion during or after Tayu's presentation. Okay. I do not know the answer.
Sounds good.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
So, the presentation that I have seen, the material that I've seen of Taiyu that was presented.
Yeah, I just shared that on the screen.
One of the OCP.
Yeah.
Okay. So that one, at least in terms of some of the key aspects that been brought up by him are very much same as NVIDIA SCADA, and SCADA is all caps. It's an acronym. So, okay, but yes, it's a very hot topic. I think it would make a really good session if we can include it.
Yeah, and I think it also, in our strive to have more and more relevance to GPU offloads, we just want to move in that direction in a more structured way anyway, as a team, I think. So that was one thing. The second was that I did jot down whatever I spoke verbally, Jason. So all those names that we were discussing, the possible names are jotted down here for your reference. We can pick up with others to follow through, including Mircea. Volunteer. He just volunteered. What would be your topic, Mircea? You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I was muted. So like I said, we have kind of three different topics that I could talk about. One is basically related to it's very much based on the Samsung AquaBolt, but basically we are enhancing that kind of architecture, and we have a publication in review right now, under review. So that's kind of one direction. Another direction,
that's an
which
HBM
is,
PIM type direction, or
yeah, an HBM, and yeah, an HBM, right?
Yeah.
An
Okay.
enhanced HBM.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, probably we should get some blessing from the Samsung folks if I'm going to present that. But I'm just saying, what we could do. And again, they did release a version of the AquaBolt simulator on GitHub. So we basically use that to enhance and get some extra capabilities. In conjunction, by the way, I should mention, with the GPU. So we have, a setup where we have a GPU kind of processing in memory. That's kind of in the
That's
weeds.
good.
I'm not sure if it's very
No, that's good.
appropriate.
Actually, we'll just put that as the representative
No,
placeholder topic.
let me mention. Yeah, let me mention. Maybe you like the other ones. I also have one that I think, and I actually gave a keynote about this to, in India and the VLSI, which I think maybe that would go better for this crowd, which is more of a call to arms to have a foundry model for memory. So right now, if you want to, if you are a fabless company and you want to build anything, that's digital, analog, you go to TSMC, you go and, you can do that. But if you are a fabless company, you cannot do anything about, memory. And this is very limiting, I think, in terms of, because you really just have the big three or four that can do anything, Samsung, SK Hynix, Micron, they are the only players. So I think there is a need for, a foundry model, and I don't know who would do that. But I have a pretty nice talk about that could go well in this crowd. And the third one is more on the the resistive RAM kind of vector matrix multiply, which sounds very basic, but what we do a pretty good study of the nonlinearities of those resistive RAM devices, and basically show that, although the idea seems pretty good, when you go and try to do anything, you get into trouble. And then, we have some nice solutions to that. So those would be kind of the three. I'm not sure, again. I wouldn't make the choice now, but I think I can do any of those relatively successful, in the 15 minutes.
I think this group might vote on which one or ones it wants to hear, but it's good to record. Any other, while we are doing this, and then I want to switch to the PowerPoint for a few minutes. And Jason, let me share again, this time the PowerPoint, so we can take care of business, planned business.
Sounds good.
Okay. So one of the things we wanted to do was update this table that, the DCC team in the white paper had come up with, this very simple way of describing fairly complex use cases that you encounter in the different application domains, just by saying for applications in AI, and this could be more specific, but the idea is that to say what is the representative computation that is running in memory DPU, or running in computational memory on smart DPUs or smart NICs, for example, or computational storage. Okay, so the DCC team had assembled their use cases. The CXP team mainly me and Gaurav, we took this and we mapped our use cases into this one. Okay. And today I wanted to talk to you about this part, which is take some new work that I have seen in genomics at ISCA 25 uh, on how genomics alignment can use computational memory or near memory processing, and how they are using a multi-device setup in which, in this case, the DPU is not really computational, uh, but that application domain I want to share with you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a link to the paper in chat in just a second, but just summarizing this one, uh, that its problem domain is what is known as de novo assembly, where you take mostly short reads from sequencing equipment like Illumina and all, and then you assemble it. Because there is no reference genome, you have to look at a lot of fragments and uh, and construct larger sequences. So this might be for characterizing new viruses, or for uh, sort of, there will be a human genome, but there might not be a reference genome for all the gut bacteria. So the microbiome for gut might use this. Lots and lots of emerging applications, and because of lots of things getting sequenced, uh, and lots of sequencing data, uh, there is a massive and exponentially growing genomics data set, where each data set is tens of terabytes. And then when it comes in memory, it becomes much larger than the on-disk size of the data set. So as a result, when you do some of these tasks that we'll be getting into, the memory access time, uh, I'm sorry, the stalls due to accessing memory account for more than half the execution time. And on these workloads which have both dependent uh, and irregular data access, meaning you're chasing pointers or doing other things that are latency bound, you only hit about 2.5% of peak memory bandwidth, leaving a lot of parallelism on the table. So these are hard algorithms that you know uh, require tens of thousands of CPU cores and hundreds of terabytes of memory to operate at scale in commercial use cases. And you see this processing element underutilization in practice when you run these workloads, because there are large, very rapidly changing and interdependent data structures that you're working with. Okay, so we'll get into the weeds for a few minutes to understand what was done and how near memory processing was used. So generally in this application, the sequencing equipment gives you these uh, sort of small sequences, small fragments of nucleotide base pairs that might be like 8 or 20 long, and you're trying to assemble, thousands of these into a single chromosome, for example. So to do this alignment task of taking fragments and figuring out what might be the long strings, you form what is known as De Bruijn graphs, DBGs. And then from that, you extract these contiguous DNA sequences through the process of assembly, which proceeds by iterative construction and traversal of these k-mers. So you find, pieces that align, and then uh, you try to join them into bigger pieces. And so the bigger pieces become what is known as macro nodes. And this paper is called Pac-Man. And they formed this thing called the Pac graph, which is how you form bigger nodes out of smaller nodes. So the main operation in this is that you will look at a bunch of these pieces that the sequencing equipment has given you, and you try to find a common subsequence with prefixes and suffixes that are unique to each string to see what are the context in which a particular set of base pairs occurs, bases occurs. So then you decompose, for example, like if you have a 5 long fragment, you will decompose that into a 4 fragment with a suffix or a 4 fragment with a prefix. And then you go through this compaction step, looking at a large bunch of these and figuring out what could be a bigger k-mer. So in this process, let me not dwell too much on the gene sequencing part, but on the characteristics of this and how they are planning to address this. So like I was saying, that the approach is that you take these k-mers, which the sequencers give you, and you start grouping them into single macro nodes on the basis of which k-mers share the same k-1 mers. Okay, and that iterative compaction proceeds on adjacent macronodes because you want them to share some prefixes and suffixes. And in this process, your memory usage really starts blowing up because of the combinatorics of what could be merged with what else. And also which particular nodes will become macro nodes and therefore grow in size, you do not know. But some smaller nodes start disappearing and some large nodes start forming. And eventually, like as you iterate through, in the beginning, you might have only a couple of different lengths of, or a couple of different bins of these k-mer sizes. But as you proceed, bigger and bigger things form, even though 95% of the data remains less than 8 kilobyte of these macro nodes of 8 kilobyte size. Okay, so what they have done is to offload some of this really dependent processing from the hosts. They are taking the smaller of these, the bulk of this 95% of this data that can be handled when in the finite resources you have in processing near memory setting. And they create this processing near memory setting by placing a processing element array within what they call as DIMM buffer chip. Now, generally speaking, if somebody told me they're placing it on DIMM buffer chip, I would think that's a data buffer or DB chip as opposed to the RCD chip. But when I look at their diagram in the paper, I see that it's drawn where you would draw on the RCD, not drawn where you would draw the DBs. So I suspect that they have done this on RCD, but we will have the speaker here and we can ask them some of these clarification questions when they are here as to exactly how they created the near memory processor, what DIMM chips that they integrated with in practice. What's more interesting is that they found that a lot of the combining that they need to do, 92% of the edges in this macro node adjacency graph that they have are not within a single DIMM, but rather traversing across DIMMs. So they built a little inter-PE crossbar to be able to traverse links across these DIMMs. And the benefits are quite interesting and substantial. So they were able to reduce the memory footprint for the host processors by a factor of 14. They were able to provide 6.2 times speed up just from the offload and another 2.6x for a total of about 15, 16x benefit from this co-designed systolic pipeline that within the PE that I'll show you on the next page. And then, if you compare resource for resource, meaning you're not trying not to have the processing near memory benefit just from having extra area of silicon. You still see about an 8.3x benefit. And it's even faster than a GPU executing this workload by a factor of 6. Okay, so pretty interesting use case. So inside any of these PEs, there is a pipeline that does some computation communication overlap in terms of figuring out, the processing of these macro nodes to extract certain characteristic, and then in the meantime figuring out the adjacent nodes, and they prepare a particular kind of state description to send to adjacent nodes called the transfer node buffer, and then actually doing the combining so that the surviving macro nodes become larger and the candidate node that they are trying to merge away disappears. Okay, so this was that. And then if you guys hold for a second, give me a second here, I will, let me stop the sharing and find the URL for the paper and share with you so you all can read more about this in your own time. But my proposal is that we bring the speakers back to share with us more details of this. I'm posting in the chat a link to the paper.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Pankaj. Yeah, that's great. I'd say we can certainly put this on the agenda for next meeting, which is going to be on the 12th, I believe, because we're going to skip next week. And we can spend some more time on this topic.
So Jason, I put you in touch with the author. Did you get my email?
I did, yes.
Okay. So you can feel free to follow through as far as scheduling topic is concerned, or anything else you feel like discussing with the presenter. I actually talked to his prof who has just moved from Michigan to Illinois, and the prof recommended that we talk to this author, even though they are not the first author on the paper. So
Okay.
that's why we're okay.
Okay. And is this the same, just to confirm, because I did get the email from you for the speaker on the 16th of September. Is this the same person?
Yeah, this is the same person. He had suggested that 16th might work for them, but
okay,
you can schedule.
Okay. All right, I'll follow up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is Sanjay that we are talking with. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Gaurav, you are on copy too there, in case you have.
Yes, I saw that. Thanks, Pankaj.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's, I just thought we've not had sort of a detailed use case presentation, and we might as well keep this really wonderful table that we have alive. So I suggest if we have nothing else in future meetings, one of us should step up and present a use case in these terminologies so our table keeps growing.
Makes sense. Thank you, Pankaj.
You're
Well,
welcome.
it looks like
Jason.
we're basically out of time for today. Any other parting comments before we conclude? All right, great. Then we will see everyone on the 12th. I'll send a cancellation, but I know for me personally, it didn't remove from my calendaring tool. So you may need to remove it from, your Outlook or whatever you use.
Right. See you in 2
Thank you.
weeks.
Thank you.
All right.
See you in 2
Thank
weeks.
you. All right. Bye.
Thank you.